Hello beautiful people, welcome to Remi's Fashion. I am Remi Forde-hyde. On this channel, we upload pattern drafting and sewing tutorials. In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how you can make your own bias tape from scratch. You can use this to finish your necklines and armholes. So let's get started. In this lesson, we're going to be making our own bias tape. You don't have to make your own. You can buy. They sell different colors in the market. But most times when you're doing a specific project, you want to use the fabric of that same material. It's advisable for you to learn how to do your own bias tape. Bias tape is a narrow strip of fabric cut on the bias. It is cut at 45 degrees to the length of the strip, and that makes it stretchy compared to one that is cut on the grain. You can buy bias tape in stores and in the market. You can make yours out of any fabric of your choice. You can make bias tape in different sizes. You can make it in 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch, 1 inch, whichever one you prefer. I prefer the 1/2 inch and I use it for so many projects. In this class, we're going to be making the 1/2 inch bias tape and we'll use it to pipe our neckline. There is single fold bias tape and double fold bias tape. I will show you how to make a double fold bias tape. I use it more. We're going to be using a bias maker, but you don't have to use it. You can still use your hand, but it's just fabric cut on the bias. You fold it into 2 equal parts and then you fold again. So you don't really have to use this. You can fold it without the bias maker. So I have a fabric here, 18 inches by 20 inches. That's what we're going to be using. I'm going to use a bias tape maker, but you can still make bias without the bias tape maker. Just like I said, you cut 2 inches, for example, you fold it into 2, 1/2 inch on each side, equal parts, and then you fold it again. That's the double bias tape. So now this is our fabric. This is 18 inches by 20 inches. I'm going to fold it on the bias. This is what I mean by folding on the bias. Like this. It is more stretchy. This way, you can use it to sew your neckline. You can curve it anyhow you like. So this is on the bias. So I'm going to cut off this excess, making this triangle using my ruler and rotary cutter like this. After doing that, I'm going to cut open my triangle. So after cutting my triangle, now I have 2 equal triangles. Okay, so I'm going to fold it again like this, and then I'm going to turn it like this straight, okay, on my cutting mat. So now the next thing I'm going to do now is to cut them. I'm going to cut it because I'm using a 2 inches bias tape maker. I'm going to cut 2 inches, which I'm going to sew together and then put the string through my bias cutter. Using my ruler and my rotary cutter, I'll measure 2 inches and then I'll just cut. Measure 2 inches again. I'm going to keep measuring 2 inches till I exhaust my fabric. You see? See how stretchy it is? See? It's stretchy, very stretchy. See? So we're going to join these pieces together. I'm going to sew and then I'll put it through my bias maker. So this is our bias strip that we cut earlier. So I'll show you now how to make a bias tape. So you take the bias strip. This is a bias tape maker. So I'm going to put it through. Check, make sure you confirm where your wrong side or your right side is. My wrong side is facing up. So I'm going to take the bias maker and I'm going to put the strip through. You can use something sharp like your seam ripper to push it out. And as it's coming out, just make sure you're ironing. All you need to do is just pull it out like this. pull, iron. We're pulling, we're ironing. You don't have to use a bias maker for this. You can fold it manually, but I have a bias maker and I prefer to use it. If you don't have a bias maker, just fold it manually. I'm folding it and I'm ironing. I'm just pulling. Once I finish folding like this, I'll fold it again like this. I'm not making it equal. One is on top of the other, just leaving small gap. So now iron. So I'm just leaving a bit of a gap. I'm not putting it for it to be exactly equal. This is my bias tape. So like I said, if you don't have a bias maker, you can do a fold, but it's better to have a bias maker because it's not expensive to get. And so when you look at this, it's not going to go around our neck, so we need to join it together. In order to do that, I will have to sew my pieces together. Then I'll make a long strip. The way to do that is this. This is one piece, and then I'll put another piece at a 90-degree angle. Okay? Then I will sew, and then you flip it over like this. This is what you're going to have. You're going to have a very long strip, and then you cut off the edge so you can make as long bias as you want. Whatever length you want, you join them together like this. So one side like this, at a 90-degree angle, you place the second one, and then we'll sew. You turn it like this, it's going to be like this, and then you cut off the edge. Once you have the length of bias you want, then you can go ahead and put it through your bias maker and make your bias, and then you can now use it to turn edges. I'm going to go ahead and sew my bias binding because I want it to be very long, enough for the neckline. I'm joining two ends of the bias tape together so that I can have a long strip for our neckline. So the next thing we're going to do now is to put our bias tape through a bias maker so that we can have a long strip. After joining the tape together, so this is what it looks like. This is the wrong side and this is the right side. As you can see, it stretches, so it's going to make it easy to sew around a curve. So it's very important, before you sew around the curve, cut on the bias. So this is our long strip. So I'll take my bias maker like this and then use a sharp object. So just make sure the wrong side is facing up, and then you put it through like this, and then use something sharp, maybe like a seam ripper, just like I showed you earlier, and then you pull it through. And then as you're pulling, you have your hot iron, you're ironing, just like I showed you earlier. Pull it out bit by bit. I'm going to continue this process till I finish folding in my bias tape. So I've finished the bias. So this is called single bias tape. See, look at where we joined together. See? So but we are going to be making double bias tape. This is single, so to make it double, we're going to fold it again like this, folding one side on top of the other, but it's not going to be equal. We're going to be leaving a bit of a gap, just a bit of a space, so that when we sew it onto our neckline, the side that is more is going to be the one facing the outside, so that the tape is not showing. So I'm folding it like this. I'm not making it equal. I'm leaving a bit of space. Okay, see, just small, nothing much. And then we're going to fold it all through. Once you finish, this is what you're going to have. So this is our double bias tape.